eating every 2 or 3 hours, it makes your body more used to using sugar as main source of energy and not fat. And again, look at every healthy individual in the world. How do they eat? On average, they eat once or twice a day. Some actually even less than that. There's multiple meals a day. It's a recent invention. It's only been around for the past maybe 100, 200 years. According to research, it started in England, actually. I think Queen Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, that's not important. Your energy goes up. By the way, the last meal I had was last night. And I feel like $1 million. Why? The energy goes up due to the fact that I don't have to digest food all day long. Okay, because when you eat constantly, a lot of your energy goes toward digestion. Okay, and by eating less often, less food to digest, and even if you have to have lunch, I would recommend to eat a light lunch if you're hungry, obviously. Your focus improves. I laugh every time I see those commercials about kids eating so they can be more focused. What studies have shown, and again, you guys can look it up, your focus improves. As a matter of fact, they've done tests that your IQ goes up with hunger, which makes sense, by the way. You actually can think more clearly when you're hungry than when you're full. It normalizes your leptin and insulin sensitivity. Obviously, insulin everybody's aware of, but leptin is a hormone that basically tells your brain that you're full. What has happened is because we're eating constantly without being hungry, the body keeps releasing the hormone, and because we have abundance of the hormone floating around, the brain has learned to ignore it, basically builds a resistance to it. Prolonged periods without food, that's 16 hours without eating, it makes your brain more sensitive. What that means? You get fuller easier, and you're not hungry all day long. Because when I tell people that, I would say 4 days out of the week I don't eat during the day at all. Oh, you're starving all day? I'm like, no, I'm not hungry. There's no will involved here. I don't have to will myself not to eat. I'm not hungry. And you'll find, actually, once you learn to eat out of hunger, which unfortunately that's something most people don't even recognize, they don't even know what hunger is, actually. We're mistaking hunger for other things. Like, oh, we get a headache. Oh, that's a sign that I'm hungry. Matter of fact, if you're hungry and you're having a headache, you're not hungry. It's actually a withdrawal that your body's going through. True hunger, you just have the sense that you want to eat, but there's no pain. Actually, in fact, you feel good. And the question I always tell my clients to ask themselves before they eat to make sure they're hungry, would you be able to indulge in a piece of stale bread? If the answer is no, you're not hungry then. True hunger, you don't care what you're eating. I can tell you, every time I go home, I don't care what my wife cooked. I'm hungry. Anything is good. Of course, we all have our favorites, but anyways, and bad food becomes not as bad. Okay, and I can tell you an experiment that I did. Everybody's familiar with the Super Size Me? Okay, Mr. Spurlock, he went to McDonald's for 1 month eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He got overweight and very sick. Okay, back in 2011, I did a similar experiment. Okay, I went to McDonald's myself. I ate cheeseburgers, hamburgers, Big Macs, all the good stuff. With one exception, I ate only when I'm hungry. I ate slow and mindful, and I stopped eating when I satisfied my hunger. Ooh, what a concept! Stop eating when you're satisfied. I did it for 2 months, though. So for 2 months, I was going to McDonald's, less cooking for my wife. It was really good. And what happened? I did my before and after blood work. And what happened to me after 2 months of eating this way? Nothing. Remember, my cholesterol went down. It was 168, went down to 158. My weight went down 3 pounds. Again, insignificant. But the point is, I'm not trying to say McDonald's is good for you, by the way. McDonald's is still not the greatest food. The point I'm trying to make is that bad food will not affect you the same way if you follow and listen to your body. So, obviously, I wasn't eating breakfast at McDonald's because I was not hungry in the morning. So, to me, it's like, how many of us, before we eat, we stop and ask, am I hungry? What am I eating? Nowadays, we're eating for any other reason except hunger. We eat because we're bored, we eat because we're stressed, we eat because, basically, eating has become entertainment. And the sad truth is, whether we like it or not, every time you put food in your mouth, even if it's an apple, if you're not hungry, that food is bad for your body. Obviously, an apple is a much better choice than the chocolate, yes. But still, the best choice would have been not to eat if you were not hungry. And that's something, unfortunately, is not taught. Now you can see why, in spite of all this diet, we're still losing the weight loss battle. Because the most important thing, which is hunger, every single healthy region around the world teaches in the culture, and yet nobody's teaching. Okay? Again, we're going to have a whole seminar just on hunger, but I'm going to move on. Now, one could argue that with the current methods of weight loss, people can lose weight and keep it off. You know, obviously, there's 5% of the population can lose weight and keep it off with the current methods of weight loss. Okay? So, now, how do they do it? So let's take a closer look at the 5% of the people who are able to lose weight with the current methods of weight loss. Okay? And what you're going to find out is that these people spend most of the free time in the gym, exercising, thinking about food, thinking about what when I eat next. When they go to a party, they have to make sure I have the food that I need to have. They like to be yelled at the gym. Okay? My question to you is, who wants to live like this? I don't. I actually rather be overweight and happy than spend all my free time worrying about my diet. That's not how life was meant to be lived. So the question is, how do we lose weight so it stays off? And I'm going to give you the secret formula. You just don't tell anyone. Okay, it's a secret. First, figure out what habits do I need to eliminate and develop to achieve the results that I want. That's number one. Okay? Once you realize, okay, this is the habits I need to develop. Next thing, pick one habit, one of those that you came up with, and break it down to the smallest action possible, just like I did with flossing. Okay, I realized I need to develop the flossing habit. I broke it down to the smallest action I could take, and then start working on the action. That's it. It's really simple. And I can tell you, let's say, for example, we need to develop the habit of doing aerobics. Okay? Now, most fitness professionals will recommend that you need to do at least 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times a week, as much as 5 times a week. Okay, let's go with the 3 times a week. So let's say, for argument's sake, you came to me and I told you that what you need to do, and you're somebody who hates aerobics. What is the chance of doing 30 minutes of aerobics after you come home from a long day at work, your boss is yelling at you, you're stressed out, you get home, you sit on your couch, you look at the treadmill. What is the chance of you getting on the treadmill? Right? Slim to none. On the other hand, though, if you had the goal of doing, and which, by the way, that's the recommendation I give when people first start, 3 aerobic workouts of 1 minute each. What is the chance of that happening? Much better. But the problem is, what's the next? I'm sure that's the question everybody's asking themselves. What the heck will 1 minute do? Well, not much, I tell you that much. But what it will do is get you on the treadmill. Remember, the first goal of an exercise program is to develop the exercise habit, not to get the results you want. That's the first goal. And that's how you develop the habit. And by the way, what happens is you do 1 minute. Next time you might do 2 minutes. How many of you can actually stop after 1 minute of aerobics? Most people will continue anyway. And before you know it, 1 minute becomes 5, and then 10, and 20, and 30, and then you have all of a sudden the habit of getting on the treadmill every time you come home. Of course, there's always a problem. For this to work, you need something else. And that is the biggest issue. The something else is the right mindset. And what I mean by that, you see, just as I was saying before, the mindset of most people is that I must do at least 20 minutes. If I want to do 20 minutes, it's a waste of my time. So you won't even bother doing more than 1 minute. Although the 20 minutes will burn you out, but your mindset will not allow you to do less. So again, you see there's a catch-22 here. So focus on the habits. By the way, this is the definition of the right mindset. Focus on the habits you need to develop in order to lose the weight. So whichever habit you're working on, focus and use that as your success indicator. In other words, let's say your goal was to do 3 minutes of aerobics, 1 minute of aerobics 3 times a week. Did you do that? Yes, it's a great week. We don't care if you lost weight or not. But let's say the following week you upped your goal and you say, okay, I want to do 3 aerobic workouts of 3 minutes each. Did you do that? Yes, it's a great week. Focus on the actions you must take, not the scale. Because like we said before, if you focus on the scale, what happens is you're going to be on the rush to develop all the new habits. You're going to keep doing more and more and more and burn yourself out. Instead, your success indicator should be the habit you're working on. Next, don't rely on motivation. Motivation comes and goes. If you rely on motivation, you're not going to be very consistent, I can tell you that much. Okay? So you rely on developing habits. That's the only permanent solution to the weight problem. Don't try to be perfect. Perfectionism is a terrible thing. Okay, matter of fact, all the rules, like eat only when hungry, I eat that way, but only Monday to Friday. On the weekends, I do whatever I want. And when I stuff myself, I stuff myself. It's guilt-free. And what you're going to find, actually, even on the weekend, you're going to eat pretty well anyway. But because trying to be perfect, it's going to burn you out too. It's like when you go on the diet and it tells you no more chocolate. Okay, if you love chocolate, what is the chance of that happening? Slim to none. But on the other hand, if you say no more chocolate Monday to Friday, but the weekends you can have whatever you want, it's much easier to do. Okay. Actually, I'll tell you a personal story really quick. I used to be a huge junk food eater. Okay, and it did not affect my weight, but I knew sooner or later it's going to affect my health. Plus, I have my wife telling me that you're a hypocrite because you're telling everybody else to cut down junk food and you're not. So I had enough motivation to say, okay, I need to do something about it. So my first attempt was to remove all soda from my house. Okay? So this way I don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. It didn't work too well. Because every time I would go to the diner, or I would go to my mother's house, I would drink it there. And I would drink a lot more than normal because I felt, like all of a sudden when you can't have something, you want even more. So I scrapped that plan because that didn't work too well. So I made another plan. And then this one I came up with was Monday to Friday, I don't drink soda. On the weekend, I can have all the soda I want. And by the way, I kept soda in the house. And what happened was, the first week was hard. By the weekend, I had tons of soda. The second week, I did perfect again, but on the weekend, I had some soda. The third weekend, I forgot to have soda. Monday came around, like, oh, I didn't have my soda. And by the way, now I drink soda once or twice a month, but it's not a big deal anymore. And then did the same thing with all the other junk food. So I keep, deviled is one of my favorite junk foods. I keep it in the house. Because I know a lot of nutritionists say, remove the temptation. I'm like, no, keep the temptation right there. Learn to control you. Because your environment is not going to always be under your control. So what happens if you remove the temptation from your house, but you go to your office and your coworker brings in junk food? We have no control. So we need to control ourselves. And the only person can guarantee results is you. That's you.
Thank you.
No one else can guarantee you results. Just you. As a matter of fact, I always tell people that if you hear a weight loss program that says, we guarantee results, run the other way. Now, it's different to say, we guarantee results if you follow our program. Yes, okay. But nobody can guarantee results, only yourself can. And the last thing is, believe and be patient. Okay? Remember, your beliefs control your subconscious mind. So if you don't truly believe that you can lose weight, okay, although consciously you're trying to, your subconscious mind can end up sabotaging yourself. Because your subconscious mind is constantly trying to prove your beliefs right. Actually, we're all trying to prove our beliefs right. So if you deep down you believe, I was meant to be overweight all my life, it doesn't matter what you try to do. Remember, your conscious mind only controls 5% of your time. 95% of the time, your subconscious mind is running you. So if you have deep beliefs that you cannot lose weight, you will not. So that's the one thing I would work on, trying to. And to be honest with you, everybody can lose weight. The only question is how many habits you need to change before you lose weight. And yes, some people lose weight faster than others. That's also genetics plays a role. Nothing we can do about that. And patience, of course, Rome was not built in a day. This is my favorite illustration. Illustrates the point. To achieve success, like each piece of the puzzle represents a habit. Okay. Each habit by itself might not get you to your goal, but as you accumulate the new healthy habits, will guarantee that it will get you to your goal. It's only a matter of how many habits you need to change. Now, let's look at healthy regions around the world. Okay, if you look at healthy regions around the world, okay, like in Greece, people did not walk because it was good for us. People did not eat the way we ate because it's healthy. We walked because we tried to get from point A to point B. Or we walked like it's actually tradition, like in the summertime, all the restaurants are outside, there's a main street, and after eating, we take strolls back and forth. Again, we're not doing it to be healthy. It's a cultural habit. Again, in Greece we ate predominantly a vegetarian diet, and we ate that way, again, not because we want to be healthy, because that's why we eat. Nobody talked about weight loss, health. Our natural habits kept us in shape. And that's what I'm trying to teach, is like, you gotta change your habits if you want to lose weight and get in shape. Because your habits are responsible for the shape you're in today. So sustainable weight loss and better health is possible at any age. It just requires a little bit of patience and the right attitude. Okay? Here's my analogy. Imagine you're flying a Boeing 747, you're the pilot, and as soon as it takes off, you're trying to fly, by the way, to Fiji for a nice summer vacation, and as soon as the plane takes off, you realize that the autopilot is set to take you to Antarctica. Obviously, you don't want to go there. What would make sense? Just grab the wheel and turn it to the direction you want and fight the autopilot the whole way, which chances are you're not going to make it because the flight's way too long and you're going to get tired. Or take your time and reprogram the autopilot. Obviously, the latter makes sense, and everybody probably would do the latter. But we also come with an autopilot. The autopilot is our subconscious mind, okay? Which, if we're out of shape, has some wrong programming. If you trying to just will yourself to do the right things to get in shape, it's only a matter of time before you get tired. It would make more sense to try to reprogram your subconscious mind with the right habits, so it would take you to the lean and healthy body you want and better health, just like healthy regions around the world. Oh, the one thing I left out, everybody needs, which unfortunately nobody can give you, a strong desire. Okay, if you don't have a strong desire, I don't care, you can follow the best program in the world. If you don't have a desire to achieve the results you're going after, you're not going to achieve them. I read it. Okay, the best time to start a weight loss program was last year. You guys missed it, sorry. The second best time is right now. Now is the only time we control. There's no point of thinking about, I should have done that yesterday. Focus on the now. Okay? And this is one of the quotes I use a lot. Give someone a diet plan and you might help them lose weight for a while. Teach them how to make healthy eating habitual and you help them lose weight for life. That's it. And that concludes my talk.